it turns out that we actually end up our lives with 42% less superannuation than men. We also acknowledge that rural incomes are less than urban incomes, and I'd just really like to hear your views about the future for independence for women in the workforce and in retirement.
Rowan.
Well, in a word, Miriam, grim.
Thought you might be looking that.
Grim. The statistic about 42% less superannuation than males, it wasn't that long ago that I had 100% less superannuation than the average male, because to a large extent I only went back into the workforce after my children had grown up. So perhaps for some of us who are late starters, we do need to get a move on now, but there's an opportunity there for us to be educating our daughters and our sons for that matter as well, to start early with their superannuation and to think over the long term in terms of their life savings and finances. But that's easier said than done in the current consumer situation that we find ourselves in, with young people finding it hard to save and not having a great deal of credit, not to mention high levels of youth unemployment. So I think it's quite an intractable issue, and it ranges from young people to older people, and I'm not really quite sure what the answer is.
Well, that's honest, if grim.
Kieran, I would take grim one step further and say it sucks, actually.
Okay.
And I think one of the reasons is that the amount of super you have is based on how much money you earn in terms of percentage terms. And there's a whole raft of reasons why women don't earn as much as their male counterparts. The pay gap is horrendous at the moment. There was a report that came out in February that talked about ranges between 25% and 35% at management positions between men and women. And at 35%, it was in financial services. We were talking a little bit about some of the unconscious and gender bias in some of our financial institutions earlier. And I think that there's a couple of reasons why women don't get paid what they should do or comparable. And one is that women tend to, and there's been loads of studies that show women gravitate towards positions that the market typically values less. And the question is, why do we do that? And there's a whole raft of things that we can't, that I couldn't possibly talk about because it's not my area of expertise, but everything to do with home and security and values and all of that self-esteem, self-confidence issues that would lend itself to the argument that women believe that they are worth less. And that's one part of it. The other reason that women don't get paid as much is obviously because the gender bias or unconscious bias in some workplace cultures, which are dominated by men. The third area, the reason that women are excluded from the workplace in lots of ways and therefore their earning capacity is reduced, is because there are not flexible working arrangements. And women returning and wanting differences in terms of their hours and flexibility is not available to them. And I think the main other reason that women are really undervalued in this respect is there's two sides to it. One is women who are seen to be pushing their own agenda and who are seen to be demanding equal pay are seen as aggressive, men crunching, I've used this word before, but female lunatics. Then on the other hand, one of the reasons that women don't earn as much money as their colleagues at the same level is because they're not very good at asking for it. So you've got, when you do ask for it, you're damned, and when you don't ask for it, you're damned. So I think we're in the position that we need to be better at backing ourselves. We need to have really fabulous women in the organisations that we work with, that we mentor, or they are mentors to us or sponsors. And if they're not visible to you, then you need to go and find them. But we need to increase our earning capacity so that when we stop working, we've got the money that we deserve for all our hard work.
And so what do we do about it? Earlier we were talking about this issue, and I think Donna said, well, perhaps we could do financial management at primary school instead of trigonometry.
High school, yeah.
High school, all right. Well,
I don't know,
it
who's used trigonometry? I don't know. Financial literacy, I mean, at high school would be a fantastic asset to young people. Coming out, they're getting their first jobs, you know, they're coming out of school. And it puts things into perspective about managing your own life and about the future as well. So you can start planning a bit better for those times when you may not be in the workforce.